Hello my dear friends and colleagues. In this video we will draw people. We will draw them with ink, with a tip pen, but of course you can do it with any kind of, I would suggest, black graphic fine liner and fountain pen. It's just important that in this case the ink is waterproof, so then we will color it with watercolor. And one time with diluted ink, diluted with water of course, so in different shades of gray. Okay, let's start. Here I have a small mug so that it doesn't spill over, and the ink is no special brand, but just make it sure that it is waterproof, because like I mentioned, we will use watercolor for coloring after. Okay, here, before starting with our first person, I will do some stuff on this bar, some bottles and glasses. And one important thing is I do this from imagination. So don't try to draw a bottle from nature or from a reference photo. This could be a good practice, but in this case what I want to show you is that you find your very personal style, how to draw things like these. And for example, I've done a video tutorial where I'm drawing, I think, 20 or 25 different windows, and they are all from imagination. And to be honest, it's much more fun to sit there and draw whatever comes in your mind, but of course therefore you have to practice from time to time from plein air or reference photos. But that's not the topic in this video, so I will speed it up, drawing the bottles, and then we will draw together the persons. Okay, let's start here with the head. And as you see, it's more a geometrical shape, and then the hairs on top, of course. And the point is that I don't use any pre-drawing with a pencil or some pencil lines. That's why I talked about finding your personal style, your own visual language. And in my case, it is not that I'm thinking I want to draw more like this or more like that. It comes from itself. So just draw, but don't draw things you saw from other artists. Of course, you can do this for practicing, but it's also important to draw whatever comes in your mind in a way like your own handwriting. And so then there is a part in your life when you are drawing and it doesn't feel like work or hard. It's just nice and it's fun, and you can enjoy it. And this for hours and all day long. And it have nothing to do with passion. It's then more a passion. Like I often have to answer questions in this direction. But of course it's clear that you have to practice how to draw hands, the fingers in all these different poses, also the shoulders, the body itself, so a little bit believable proportions. And this is, I think you can't explain that. You only have to use references and try it with a pencil day by day. So really daily practice is very important. Okay, and like in my architectural drawings, when I draw these cityscapes and buildings, there we have these thicker brush lines with in this case is a brush pen, as well filled with waterproof ink. Therefore I use this sketching from your Aurora and Klingner, but there are some other inks, they are special made for using them in fountain pens or in such brush pens. Okay, so let's draw some more shadows. You should think about the direction. In this case, the direction of the light comes from the left side, and of course this should be with all your persons when they are standing in one room. They have one direction the light goes, and so in this case it's from the left, and I do some shadows, also these thicker brush lines. And as well, they don't have to be naturalistic, they just have to be there. And the line should be ideally drawn very confidently. Okay, after drawing some more shadows on this first figure, we do another one, and you'll see in a second we start with in this case with a triangle. So the first person was more a square head, and here we're doing something like a triangle, and then here these dynamic lines are the hairs. And as well we do some curved lines for the right and left parts of the hair. One as well important point is that when you truly look in nature in a face who is a little bit far away or more far away, then what are the eyes, the nose and the mouth? They are often only shadows, some tiny shadow, like you see here under the nose, one for the mouth. And now we go further on, just some lines in the hair, and then we do the body, the shirt, and as well just think about how shirts can cover the body. And so there are some straight lines on the shoulders. And here we have more delicate upper body, so it's more a female. And now let's start with the really fun part. Here you see some older sketches in this sketchbook. This is not a dedicated aquarelle paper, it's a 150 grams. And it's a smooth surface, yeah, not a rough surface. But as you've seen before, it works. It's quite okay for a sketchbook. And here I'm mixing and also cleaning because it's too dark, too on the colder side. Yeah, it looks warm, but it was too warm for a skin tone. So for skin tones, what I normally not do, I'm not doing. Cleaning the palette. And here I start again with sienna, a little bit raw umber, a little bit yellow and reds, and then I'm mixing it. I try to not get too dark and not too colorful. This is what I would do in a second wash or in a third wash when it comes to the details. And so no problem when it's a little bit of a try and error. And one important thing is use enough water. Here I take this yellow, this is a cleaner one, the other one is a little bit mixed with blue on the other palette. So I take this from the left side. And I'm mixing until I'm happy with it, and I will take a small piece of paper to test it, in this case, before we paint with it. So in this case it was a little bit too dark, so start once more again. And now I think, now it looks like they would be the same, but they are not, because the second paint is wet. And as you know, when it's get dry, the color is drying, then they become much brighter. So okay, let's start here on the first guy on the left side of this paper, and I try to have some more darker areas, and one brighter part, so in his chin, and so we have a little bit of variation. And you can lift up the color, but not for a very long time, because this special not watercolor paper is drying very fast. That's okay when you want to do a second layer, but in the case of working with the paint, so lifting up and so on, or doing gradients, it's not ideally. Okay, the next phase with this skin tone, I will speed this up now because I'm just filling all the skin parts, so the faces and the hands as well. It's a little bit painting by numbers, but in this case it's absolutely okay, I think. It's funny. Okay, now let's start with the glasses, a little bit of bluish tone, so I mix some cobalt blue and with black, or you take an indigo. These are not these colorful blues. I like them as well for sky, when I'm doing a background sky. And here for the glasses, it's quite useful. And in the same way, the bottles and the rest of the glasses. And then mixing some yellow with ochre, and for the hair of this madam, and so maybe some darker parts here as well, a little bit of shadow part, and then we do the rest of the hair. So I take more darker browns and some black, so that we have a little bit of variation in the color of the hair. And the next one I will do a little bit more red. So I mix a little bit orange in a cadmium red, for example. Okay, now fast forward because it's the same process. And here we also add some shadows. And now I clean the palette again, because now we will start with a more neutral black or gray. So this is then for the shadows. In between, I make sure that the first wash is dry, so that we don't mix or lift up the color. And then we can paint over this first layer and do our shadows here. In some comments you wrote that you want to see the process in real time and not speeding it up. So now from time to time I will play some music, just for some 1 or 2 minutes, and that you can see the process in real time. So, and I've done these shadows now. I mix again blue with some black, so it's cobalt blue, and Mars black I often use. And now let's do the clothes, the shirt, and this also in a more loosey way. And well, it's not the color of the shirt, it's more the shadow of the white shirt. So a white shirt, of course, needs some shadow so that we see it is white and not unpainted. Otherwise, it would look unpainted. And then, of course, we have our bottles. Therefore, I mix some leaf green. Yeah, so not a colorful green like in the trees, more this black and yellow mixture of green for these bottles. And for the next bottle, I just take some dark black with less water, and just to have here a nice contrast between the light and the shadow side of this bottle. And now for some colorful movements. Let's do a very bright red for the glasses. So maybe it's strawberry juice or some wine, I don't know. Okay, now in the second row we do these people, drawing them like before with this steel tip pen. And in this case we will only do some shadows with diluted black ink, so that we get these gray tones. So, but in this case I would speed it up, but just a little bit, let's say 2 times, so that it isn't too boring for you to watch this. So, but the next 4 people I will speed it up very fast, just in case you want to see this process in normal time. I do another tutorial about only doing this line work. And now we can start with the gray. So, and for this purpose I take this plate and make a mixture of my ink. So this is just a normal ink, and then you can dilute it with water to get this different grays. And I do this right on this plate, on this palette, and we start with a very dark one. And nothing special here to say. Like before with the color, we fill up the areas, the side where the shadow is, and more or less water we will get these grays. And if you're unsure, of course, you can test the gray on another piece of paper before you use it in your drawing. I also would suggest to do this in a sketchbook with which is more cheaper, with cheaper paper, so that you can try it on and on again. So do one of these boys and girls, or men and women, and really fast in a loose way, then color it or do it with ink, some shadows with a brush pen or something like this. And so that you can practice it and don't think about making big art or something like this. So, and for the last step, I just take one of these white, opaque white brush pens and do some splatters, some sprinkles over these black or gray parts. To squeeze it, that there's coming out something. You can do this with a toothbrush and some white acrylic color, for example, something like this. And now in this really very last step, I just add some background behind these people. But in the end, I was unsure if this was necessary because it's now a little bit dark. But this is what sketchbooks are for, just to try something, even when you're not sure if it turns out good. I hope you can use some of the tips I gave or something about what I was talking about, and hope to see you next time. Enjoy what you do. Don't be too strong with yourself and do it loose and in a fun way. That's very important. Okay, bye for now.